So we want to be able to identify the domain and range of a given graph, of a given function. So the domain always means x values. And so when we are reading the graph to identify the domain, we want to always make sure that we are reading the graph from the left to the right, because we need to identify the values of the domain from the smallest x value to the largest x value that is present on the graph or on the function. So from the left, as we can see, this is the x-axis. So as we are trying to identify the domain, we need to identify what is the smallest x value present and what is the largest x value present. So we are going to read the graph from the left to the right. So as we move in from the left side, we see that this graph starts with an arrow. The arrows on the graph always are going to represent infinities. It means that the graph goes on and on and on out forever and ever and ever. So when we read the domain of this, because I have that arrow, we are going to say that that lowest x value is negative infinity. As we read and follow the graph, we want to go to where we see the largest x value. Well, the largest x value is present on the other side of the graph with another arrow there. So that is the positive side of x. So that's going to be that the largest value goes out to positive infinity. So our domain is every x value present on the x-axis is present on this particular graph, whether you can picture it or see it with your mind or not. Okay? Then we have the range. The range represents the y values present. So you have an input of x values that is going to produce an output of y values. And just like the domain, we are doing interval notation, and interval notation always means you are identifying the smallest value present to the largest value present, okay? And so because we are looking for the y values, we have the y-axis, which runs up and down. And so as we are identifying the y values for the range, we are trying to identify the smallest y value present to the largest y value present. So as we read the graph, we are going to read the graph from the bottom to the top, because that is going to give us our values from the smallest to the largest. So as we are reading this graph from the bottom, we see that we would start here at 0. So the range, the smallest y value on this function is 0. And then as we move up and go to the top, we see that we are the ends of our graphs have double arrows, which signifies that the largest y value is going to positive infinity. And remember that your infinities should always have parentheses, and that is domain and range.